Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to today's brief lesson about tax. So, what are taxes? Taxes are basically the extra money that you pay to the government. Now, of course, some of you have already noticed we have the keyword extra, so we are paying more. We are paying something additional. This is something we add on to the total, okay? So, if I want to calculate, let's say I have an example, okay? So let's say this is example 1. Let's say I am buying, I don't know, let's say I'm buying a book, all right? So let's say I'm buying a book. Now, the book costs, let's call it Y dollars, yeah? But I'm buying the book in the state of Florida, and Florida has a 7% sales tax, right? Well, then the tax is something more, something additional, something extra. So I'm going to pay 7% more for the book than I usually would. So basically, I was going to pay 100% of that book, of Y, but now I'm going to have to pay an additional 7% of that book, of Y. So the total amount I will have to pay now is going to go ahead and be 100% plus 7%. Well, 100 plus 7 is 107% of Y. 107%, I'm going to go ahead and convert my percent to a decimal. I'm moving from the right to the left. So I'm going to move 2 spaces to the left. That becomes, let's take the 107, oh, so sorry. Let's take the 107%. Let's erase the percentage sign, take the decimal point, move it 2 spaces to the left. That's 1.07. So this would be 1.07y. Boom. That's it. That's all you got to do. Now let's take another example. Let's just imagine that we don't live in Florida, okay? Let's say that we live in another state. So let's say James wants to buy a pony. Yes, he's buying a pony in Oklahoma. Oklahoma has a 15% sales tax. Now, guys, I'm making this up. I have no idea what Oklahoma sales tax is. But for the purposes of the math problem, 15% sales tax. Okay. Write an expression showing how much James will pay in total. Okay, so pretty much James was going to go ahead and buy a pony, right? Yes, I am terrible at drawing. James was going to go ahead and buy that pony, and that pony was going to cost him a grand total of, I don't know, let's say P dollars, fee per pony. So he was going to pay 100% of P dollars, right? But since Oklahoma has this tax, and a tax is something extra that we have to pay, he's going to pay an extra 15%, an additional 15% of what that pony cost of P. 100% of P plus 15% of P becomes 115% of P. Remember, I want to take my percentage, move it to a decimal. I'm moving right to left, so I take the decimal point at the end of 115, and I move it 2 spaces to the left. It becomes 1.15. So 115% of P becomes 1.15P. Boom. Now, you guys might have noticed this is what you do if you want to find the total amount. how much you're going to pay in total. So you're taking your 100% plus your tax to find out what you want to pay in total. Let's imagine the situation was slightly different, okay? Let's imagine that you have the exact same question, the exact same one, only this time they're changing what they're asking you. Instead of tax asking you how much will he pay in total, what if they ask you how much will he pay in tax? Okay, James wants to buy a pony in Oklahoma. Oklahoma has a 15% sales tax. Write an expression showing how much James will pay in tax. You don't want the total, so you know what? James was going to buy that pony, and whatever it costs him, that's completely irrelevant. I don't care about the 100% of the cost that it cost him. I don't want that. I'm not looking for the total. All I want to focus on is the 15% it will cost James. I'm sorry, the 15% that will be the tax. That's the only thing that matters to me. So I want to find out, how would I represent 15% of P, the tax, in an expression? Well, I take my percentage and make it a decimal. So I go from percent to decimal, right to left. I'm moving from here 2 spaces to the left, 0.15, 0.15. So this becomes 0.15p. Okay, let's do one more example of the tax alone. All right. So let's say that Mr. Pearson wants to buy a new Chromebook. Okay? He buys it in Canada, which has a 8% tax rate. Once again, I'm making this up. I have no idea what the tax rate of Canada is. How much? Write an expression to find out how much Mr. Pearson will pay in tax. Okay, so basically, I'm over here. This is me. I'm buying a Chromebook. Yay! I like Chromebooks. Perfect. Okay, now whatever it's costing me, that 100% of my Chromebook, I'm not interested in that. I want to find out how much I'm going to pay in tax only. Please understand there's a difference between total and tax. If you have the total, you're adding 100% plus the tax as a percent, no problem. If you have the tax, if you only want the tax, you don't add the 100. So I want to find out how much I have to pay in tax. Well, the tax rate in Canada apparently is 8%, right? So you go ahead to turn your percent to a decimal, you're moving right to left. So you're going to take that 8, find the invisible decimal point at the end of it, and you're going to move 2 spaces to your left. Becomes point where this blank space is, you're going to put a 0. Okay, so 8% of C of the Chromebook becomes 0.08 times C. That's it, ladies and gentlemen.